Have you ever poured yourself into checking off your goals, this to do, this to do, this to do, and then step back and said, wait a minute, it's not what I really wanted. It's not the outcome I wanted. Or, gosh, who have I become in this process? And so today we're really talking about who you become is really more important than what you do. And it's this idea that you'll never do things until you first become a certain type of person. So it's the Drama Free Living Podcast, Dennis and Lisa McEntee. And Lisa, so when we kind of like talked about this, like what kind of went through your brain? Because I know this was it was kind of my idea, like, hey, let's talk about this. And I'm real curious, like what were you thinking? Because I know you weren't super sure on like, is that even a good idea?
I know that there's different people they have different kryptonites, they have different superpowers. Yeah. And maybe 20, 30 years ago, I would have been the sum total of my to-do list, but I'm not today. Okay. Today, in this current version of Lisa that I'm living in, I am not the sum total of my to-do list.
Wow. And I like this current version. Yeah, I
That's
really
good,
do.
Because it's what you got.
It's all I got, right? Well, and I think it's this idea when I sort of thought about it is that real achievement is not just about results. It's about who I grow into along the way. And we've seen this, at least just at our last roundtable meeting. I remember one of the participants, he said one of the best things was goal setting is all about transformation, not about what I get. Right? Because you do come to this point in your life as you continue to grow where it's like, I really have a lot of the things that I really have desired or wanted or needed. And, and we're at different points and all of us are at different places.
And there's different things that I desired and wanted and needed. And realistically, I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's never going to happen.
Yeah. And so it really becomes, I think goal setting is more about the transformation than the doing. Right? Because I know we've all hit goals and I thought, that's it.
That doesn't feel like I thought it would feel.
Yeah, but it's like, but who did you become along the way? So I think many times we have to step back and go, who do I want to become? Right. And then allow my goals to sort of like frame around like who I'm becoming. Right. The reason that I said maybe let's just say a weight loss goal. Okay. I set a weight loss goal because of who I want to be. I want to be this healthy, vibrant, like I have a picture in my brain of me playing with our grandkids, right? Getting on the floor and just having, mobility and having strength and, and being able to like live a vibrant life. And so it really is not about the number on the scale, but it's more about Dennis being this vibrant, energetic person in his 50s, 60s, 70s, into his hundreds.
Yeah. And I think also, and I made this statement to you last night, it was like, I was thinking about what was going on in our life and what was happening. And I said, this isn't the life that I expected to be living right now. And we all go through times of things happen in our personal lives, in our professional lives. And you think, gosh, this is not what I planned to experience in my life right now at this time. And it happens to all of us. And being able to sit down and understand, okay, I am not a to-do list and I am not a achieve this. I am not a list of achievements. I'm a human and this is my life. And maybe you're going through something right now that you never planned to go through at this time in your life or ever, but it's like, okay, but this is where we're at.
Yeah.
So how do we make it the best life we can?
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, it's not about the goal, but it's really who you become on the journey to get there.
Yeah.
Right. It's who I'm becoming. Now you even think about like, maybe leadership sometimes, right? And you think about people are human beings, not human doings.
Yeah.
Right. And so you always want to think about, the best leader. I always ask people, okay, this is a great leadership question. So the best leader you've ever had, I want you to you're thinking about that. It could be a coach, a boss, right? And here's the question. Were they more concerned about what you did or who you became? Right? At least almost across the board, it's who I became.
The ones that you really connected with and the ones that you really respected.
Yeah. So think about this. Why don't we go help people do that? Help people become. Not just focus. It's the difference between transactional leadership and transformational leadership. And so if you're leading a team, I would step back and, yes, there are transactions. We've got to-do lists and things and achievements that got to get done. But even take a step back and go, how can I help them become somebody different? Right? I need you to achieve this, but like I need you to become this person that's more detail oriented and become this person that's more confident and become this person that communicates better.
Mhm.
Right? And so all these achievements really are helping people sort of become. Because Lisa, the people that have helped us become, I mean, we've given our hearts to them,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I think about with one particular relationship, that he passed away during COVID,
Mhm.
right? And do you remember, like you and I, like put on masks and flew to Oklahoma City to go? We were like, hey, we're gonna be at this guy's funeral. Right.
Right.
Because this guy, changed our lives, right? He
Yeah.
he helped us become who we were. And so it's almost like if you just go for the hands, you don't get the heart. But if you
Right.
go for the heart, the hands come with it.
Right. It's the difference between seeing someone as a warm body you're throwing at it, or
Yeah.
as another set of hands, or seeing them as a human and valuable and on this earth to make a difference.
Right. Because even as leaders, like we have to ask people to do hard things. We have to ask them to
Mm.
do things they don't want to do. And many times they'll push back, again on our how because we haven't sold them on our why. Like they're not bought into us. And we've even seen that like with our team. Like we've asked them to do some hard things and they stepped out and did it. And I know they didn't want to do it. Like I know
Right.
that, right? I know it was
And it was
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, but they did it, I think, a little bit because, hey, they knew we believed in them. They kind
Mhm.
of borrowed our belief,
Yeah.
and helping people become really creates these long, lasting relationships that
Yeah.
are really powerful on teams.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like some ways to kind of become, not just goal set, right? Not just set these goals, but how do you become? I think one thing is kind of clarify like your core values.
Right. And along this, we're not saying don't do great things. We're not
Yeah.
saying don't accomplish stuff.
Hmm.
What we're saying is don't be the sum total of your to-do list.
Yeah.
And don't be the sum total of if I could just get here, or if I could just do this, or if I could win that award, or if I could get that
Yeah.
degree, then I'll be there. Because
Right.
that's not really how life works.
Well, isn't it funny, Lisa? You said, if I did get that degree, I'll just be there. And it's like a lot of times, like we're chasing there,
Right.
right? And realize we never ever get there because as soon as I get whatever there is, guess what? It's here.
Yeah.
It's like almost like here is all I have. And if I'm continuing chasing there, I'm in this continual chase after something that a little bit is imaginary.
Right.
Isn't this crazy? It's like we chase these imaginary things called there. I want to, right? But as soon as I get there, as soon as I get that achievement, it's
Mhm.
no longer there. And then the problem is there's always another there. There's
Yeah.
always another there. And so I think really, I
So
think this
you
idea like helps you live in the now, lets you live here.
Right, because so you never get that satisfaction, and you never bask in that pride of accomplishment because you're
Yeah.
like, "Wow, I'm really proud of myself I did that," or "I'm really proud of you," or "I'm proud of our team that we really did that," because we're trying to get to the next stage or the
Yeah.
next place.
And I think as leaders, like one of the key thing that we have to do is like always be where you are.
Mm,
And I think this is hard for ambitious people sometimes or people with big goals, right? Because we're
yeah.
always on our way somewhere
Mhm.
instead of stepping back and going, okay, let me just be here. So I
Yeah.
think one idea is really to clarify like, your values and really what you
Mhm.
want,
Right.
right? And so I even think of like traits to cultivate more so than goals, right? So kindness, perseverance, integrity, honesty,
Being present,
being present.
being passionate.
Yeah, like what are the traits that you want to cultivate to kind of really step back and go, hey, this is who I want to
Mhm.
be, and make that your starting point. But the problem is we kind of get the tail before the horse,
Well, and it
right?
goes back to and
Is it
there's
the tail before? It's the cart before the horse.
cart before
Yeah,
the horse.
got it.
But it goes
The tail
back
before the
to, and this
horse.
this was a concept that people used, like leadership teachers use this is okay, writing your eulogy type of.
Okay,
It's kind of that kind
could
of
be.
idea.
Yeah,
It's like okay, what do I want to be remembered for, or how do I
yeah,
want people to remember me, or when they think of me, what do they want to think? What do they think of? That I was just had all of these degrees, or that maybe I was really intelligent and super helpful and helped with some groundbreaking discoveries, not just that I had all these degrees.
yeah. And then I think another idea is really just continue to reflect. So know what you
Mhm.
want, right? These are the traits, and then continue to reflect regularly. A daily practice that I sort of have is I kind of just ask myself a set of
Mhm.
questions, right? One thing that I'm currently asking about is, hey, where was I selfish yesterday?
Mm.
Right? Because I have found that most of my irritations and my pet peeves are really based out of my own selfishness.
Right.
And really being able to step back and examine, okay, where's I a little irritated, upset, annoyed, bothered? Well, these kind of situations have come about because of my own making, my own doing. I have
Right.
done certain things that have sort of created this. And so, right, one thing that a person that I'm really working on is, you know, not being so selfish, right? Being
Mhm.
selfless,
Mhm.
right? And really being more of a servant to other people and be of service to people. And so realizing, okay, hey, where was I selfish? And what do I do? How do I rectify and, fix some of these things? So it's been a great reflection to help me like
Right.
evaluate and not beat
Right.
myself up,
Yeah.
right? To know I'm a work in progress. I'm a human being. I am in the process of becoming. I think, Lisa, there are sort of three truths that have really helped me over the last like couple months. Is this truth is that I am deeply loved, I am deeply flawed, and I'm in the process of transformation. Right? Deeply loved, deeply flawed, and I'm in the process of transformation. And just really being very comfortable like in that space really
Mhm.
helps me stay in the now.
Yeah, and I love that, and that reflecting regularly, that's that's basically like setting a plumb line, and so
Mm,
you set that plumb line, and then as you're going along, you're always measuring yourself up to that plumb line that
yeah.
you've set in advance,
Mhm.
and it could be that complete chalk line, so as you're building, as you're progressing, you check back in with that
That's
to
good.
see, okay, am
Yeah.
I still lined up?
Yeah.
And that's really kind of the what reflecting regularly would be.
Yeah, so it could be daily, it could be weekly,
Mhm.
monthly, like, even like we use the roundtable for quarterly reflection, right?
Yeah.
How many people have used that,
Mhm.
and we've had people come to the roundtable and say, the reason I come is that it's at one day a quarter where I can get away from my business, out of my business, maybe even leave my city and
Right.
come to a place where it's like I can just work on me.
Yeah.
I can recalibrate my goals, my
Mhm.
desires, my who I'm becoming, and really relook and sort of just recalibrate. Because I think we all get like out of alignment. And so some kind of way to create alignment in your life so that you actually get to the destination that you desire to go to and you desire to be. And
Mhm.
you really it's this idea of wanting what you want, right? It's kind of a Dan Sullivanism, right? Is that, learning to, hey, I want this and it's okay to want these things, right? And we want you to step back instead of wanting things, like want characteristics, want character. Like I don't want things. It's like I want character because I know if I have the character, the things will come along with it.
And if you have the character and then you get the things, you're able to keep them
Yeah.
because without that character, you can't keep those
Yeah.
things.
And so reflect regularly. And
Mhm.
then I think focusing more on habits and systems more
Hmm.
so than just to dos, right? Because think about it. It's like I'm a collection of my habits,
Right.
right? And habits always have a place and a time,
Mhm.
right? It's like I don't brush my teeth in the kitchen. Right? It's in the
Most of the
morning.
time.
Right. There are times it's been done. Okay. Right. But it's in the bathroom and it's morning and it's evening.
Right.
Right. And it has just developed a system. Right. It's like I take my supplements in the morning. I take my supplements in the evening.
Mhm.
Right. I just have a habit. They're put out at a certain place. I put them at a certain place for me. I put them at a certain place for you. It's just this habit and this rhythm that we have. And so I think because I think whatever becomes a routine in your life becomes an authority in your life.
Right.
You think about all the great religions of the world, right?
Mhm.
They have a certain routine
Right.
that they have, right? Certain things that they do,
Mhm.
right? And the fact of you doing those routines, it
Right.
actually becomes an authority in your life. So, what are the routines that you need to create,
Mhm.
that become an authority in your life?
Well, and along with that, when we have different routines, we have habits and we have rhythms, life is actually pretty chaotic. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of chaos that happens. But when we have certain rhythms and routines that we just do on a regular, journaling in the morning, brushing your teeth in the morning,
Hmm.
going outside at noon to be in the sunshine and in the fresh air, just different things, taking a walk in the evening, different things that it's just part of who you are.
Hmm.
Then when that chaos in life comes, those routines pull you back to
They're almost like
center.
an anchor.
They do. It's like
right? Yeah.
you have a tent and you've got your 4 tent pegs, and those tent pegs are actually what hold the tent down. So the wind, whether it comes out of the north, the south, the east, the west, whatever's happening, it anchors you down and it pulls you back into, and it brings you back into the rhythm of life. So as you're experiencing this chaos, oh, it's okay.
Yeah, and really learning to kind of simplify your habits. Like, so we're not saying work on thousands of habits. Like, Lisa, I literally have 3 tent pegs in the morning, right? It's like I'm going to journal, right? I'm going to pray and meditate, and I'm going to read, right? And when I sort of get off that,
I know,
that's
I can
right.
tell.
Yeah, you can tell when it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, have you been doing? And I go, no, for like the last 4 or 5 days I haven't. And you're like, you're kind of out of alignment, Dennis, right? Because it's like, who you become is more important than what you do, right? And really what you do flows out of who you are. And so it's almost like if you want to do more, you have to be more. And that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
And I think another key thing is surrounding yourself with growth-minded people.
Yes.
Right.
Our Leadership 101, this is exactly what that is it's a system. It's monthly. It's with one of our coaches, and
you got 20 or 30 people
live on Zoom, interacting,
Yeah.
all learning about things like
imposter syndrome,
right,
accountability, delegation,
and just
right?
having
productivity,
good discussions
time
on
management,
them.
right?
Right.
And
And
really,
everybody's learning these things, and they're wanting to learn it, and they're wanting to grow in these areas and see blind spots. And it's surrounding yourself with people that are like that.
and what's really cool is when they connect offline, right? It's like, hey, I saw you on Zoom. Hey, let me get your email. Let me get your number.
Right.
And then they have these sidebar conversations that happen. It's like, hey, how do I apply this delegation technique? How do you apply it? How does that work for you? And then how does and really having those relationships, right? Because I forget who said it, but it's like we're the sum total of like the people we surround ourselves with.
Right.
So getting around, because it really encourages you. And then I think, listen, this is a big one, prioritizing learning over achievement. Almost like, what are you going to learn from the experience more than just the end result? So we're in the middle of like, signing a contract. And I told my team, it's a real stretch for our team to do. But I said, I think we really need to step into this and do this because of what we're also going to learn. We can do the work.
Right.
It's at a higher level. It scares me too. Right. I know it scares the 3 other team members that are with me in the project. But it's almost like, hey, you know what we're going to learn after doing this? Like, let's step in and let's do this because, we're going to learn a whole lot from this process. So almost like think about, what are you going to learn?
Right.
Because the value of every experience, the value of any experience really is what I learned from the experience. How many times have we gone through an experience and we never learned and we just repeat it over and over and over? Well, that's not a valuable experience.
Yeah.
So it's really, how do we extract value? And that's a skill, extracting value, making it valuable. You're able to get the value from it.
Right. Because you don't want to, every time you ride on your bike, crash. It's like at some point you want to be able to ride the bike and not crash anymore. And wouldn't that be terrible? Like, why would you even get on the bike?
Yeah.
And so that's what it is. It's let's learn. Let's just take this experience, tweak it, and get a little bit better and have a little bit more knowledge for the next time, for the next go around, because there will be another go around.
So there totally will, right? And so listen, as you're setting your goals, like set being goals, right? So, what are the being goals? Like, being more present, being courageous, not being as impatient, not being selfish, right? What are these being goals? And then from that, create these specific things, create these specific to-dos. And I think if you really focus there, you're going to find yourself just becoming a bigger person. And if you want to do bigger things, you got to be a bigger person. So I was talking with one of our clients and they have, they're hitting a certain number in their business, right? And I said, we talk about doubling and I'm all in on doubling. Let's double this thing. I'm great. I said, but who do you need to become? Right. If we go from 30 million to 60 million, what does the organization look like?
Yeah.
And then you as an executive team, where do you have to grow? Right. What do you have to get better at? And it came into all those. It's like, I need to be more courageous because I'm not having the hard conversations right now. Right. And, I need to be, more, less impatient because I push these people and I don't, and I got to be more secure because I don't want to delegate these things because I'm afraid they're going to mess up, right? All these being, but it was driven out of, they set the big goal and then they said, okay, who do we need to become?
Right.
Because the reality is, Lisa, we're only doing what we're doing right now because that's all you and I can do.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, that is
Ouch.
just, right? It's like, I'm sorry and you're welcome. Right? Literally, it's like,
Exactly.
I'm sorry and you're welcome. Yeah,
Yeah.
but stepping back, then that's good news because these kind of conversations give us a roadmap.
Yeah.
They give us a path, right? It gives us a path. Okay, now I know who I need to become.
Right.
And then we kind of touched on this a couple podcasts earlier, but really monitoring like your own self-talk, right? You want to continue to reframe that
Right.
inner dialogue all the time.
What is that tape playing in the back of your mind all the time?
Yeah. And so because if you believe you can't, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never. That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
I'll never get it right. Well,
Yeah.
of course, right? I'll never be patient, right?
Or I can't.
Or I can't be, right? It's like I'll never be able to delegate, right? Or I can't hold people accountable, right? And all of a sudden, you tell your brain these things, and your brain stops working on them. Your brain goes, okay, I guess you can't. I guess it's impossible. Okay, hey, I'm not even going to work on that. Right? Because you have already declared it impossible to yourself, and that's the lie.
Yeah. And even the statement, well, this is difficult for me.
Oh, yeah.
And you could even say this as frequently. You don't have to use the absolutes of all or never, but you could use the phrase, this is difficult for me. Well, okay, yes, true. Maybe it is difficult for you, but I can do it. And so you do want to recognize and value the truth of a situation, but you also want to recognize the potential truth of the situation.
Yeah, and really, Lisa, when you think about all these statements are just excuses. So it's good to kind of put it in we teach an excuse buster formula in our training, which has been super helpful for people. So you say, it's difficult. You're like,
Right.
okay, even though it's difficult, how can I still blank? Hey, even though this is really hard, how can I still whatever, right? Even though whatever excuse, even though whatever script you're saying to yourself, how can I still, right? All of a sudden, because when you say things like it's hard, your brain just doesn't work on it. It's like an excuse. And when you make an excuse, your brain stops working on it.
Right.
And it's almost like we got to give our brain something better to work on. And I think these becoming goals, it's so powerful to like force your brain to work on these things. And then I think kind of embrace the journey. Right? It's not the destination, right? We talked about earlier. It's not the there, it's the here right now.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, who are you becoming?
Right. Because you have not arrived. And honestly, you will not arrive until the day after you die.
And then you've arrived.
And then you've arrived because you obviously at that point can't arrive anymore. But we're always on a journey. Yes, there are different benchmarks and there are different achievements, but seeing it as a journey and seeing it as the things that I'm learning and experiencing and seeing it as an adventure rather than as a chore or something that you'll never get to. There's a big difference perspective in that.
Yeah, or almost like I think sometimes like we fall into this perfectionism.
Yeah.
Right? It's like we want to be perfect. We want it to be perfect, and
you won't be perfect. You will never be perfect, and it will never be perfect.
It's a false image
because we are human and we live on Earth.
Yeah, so it's almost this false image that we are chasing, or constant productivity.
Yeah.
Right. We always got to be efficient. Right. I think. And I'm still working on this. Like it was said to me probably 7 or 8 years ago. It just still has never left me. And I'm still working on it. I had somebody tell me, it's like, hey, listen, Dennis, relationships are not efficient.
Yeah.
And I've spent the last 7 or 8 years trying to prove him wrong. And darn it, you know what? It is true. And it's okay, right? It's like I'm messy. People are messy. And, really stepping back and even allowing our teams to be messy at times. Right? Now, that doesn't give them camp carte blanche just to do whatever.
Right.
That's
that does not
saying.
Mean that they're not productive.
Yeah.
It's just not perfect.
Yeah. And it's
sometimes there's a lot of creativity in imperfection.
Yeah. I just had a thought. It's like, we're not perfect. We're just learning.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, I'm not perfect. I'm just learning. And then I think the last thing is you kind of think about becoming. It's like, ask yourself, like, how can you contribute? Like, how can you serve other people? Right? How can you grow? Because I grow my character through service. I really do. Like, left alone to myself, I'm a very selfish person, right? That is just the truth. I think truth be told, if we're all like honest with ourselves and we just tell the truth, we can all fall into that. Left in a vacuum, I can be very, very selfish, right? And most of my challenges have really been, it's like, like it's self-will gone riot, right? It's like it's gone crazy, and service always like sort of recalibrates that for me,
Mm.
right? It's like, who can I be a blessing to? Who can I help today? Right? And it's this idea, the law of the farm is that we always reap what we sow. And so am I sowing the right things, right? Am I stepping in and being of service to people? And so instead of just really always focusing on my needs, step back and go, okay, what do other people need? What do they need? And how can I serve them in that way?
Right. How can I make someone's life better today? Or how can I leave a place or a person and they are better just because we had an interaction?
Yeah. So I think, the world needs the person you're becoming. Okay. And so they
And
need
the
it
world
more.
needs the person that you are today.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes, we're becoming because we are.
Yeah. And so maybe take a step back. We're not saying don't do great things, but let's just take a step back and go, hey, who do I need to become? And then what are the goals I can set to become that person?
Mm.
And then what are the habits I need to set to become that person? So these are kind of a challenging podcast for me and really a challenging thought. So I think I need to up the reflection. I do it every day, but I think I want to work on some different questions and maybe some more specific questions. And then I think I want to share some of these questions with some relationships that can hold me accountable. Hey, these are the 3 or 4 questions I'd love for you to ask me.
Right.
Every month or every time we get together, can you ask me like these 4 questions? Right. And so I think I'm going to kind of come up with those questions just to help the reflection a little bit better
Mhm.
so that I continue to, I guess, continue to see it accurately,
Right.
and because I don't want to live a fantasy life. I want to live like, hey, this is really where it's at. And then how do I become somebody different? What kind of hit your brain as we're kind of talking about this?
I really love the core value piece
Mm-hmm.
on, okay, who is it that I actually want to be? Who do I want to be for myself?
Mm-hmm.
And who do I want to be for others?
Yeah.
And then setting a plumb line and just keeping myself on that track. And even finding out in what areas am I not quite that person, and how can I implement those things in my life more.
Okay, so here's a question for you. What's the very next action you need to do? What's your very next step? What's the next right thing to do? What's your very first step? So as you think about becoming and doing, what's the very next step? So whatever's hitting your brain right now, we want you to do it, right? Once you share it with a friend if you want to up the accountability. Hey, I just listened to this podcast and I'm going to do this, and would you hold me accountable and ask me about it in the next week or so? Okay, so whatever that thing is that hit your brain, go do that. And listen, we'll see you next time on the Drama Free Living Podcast.